On the consumer price on pollution, I was the first candidate to come out and say I would lift that. And the reason is really simple. Democracy is about listening to people. And Canadians were very clear with us in conversations with me that they didn't think that policy worked for them.
One of the incredible takeaways, and this reminds me, I'll save my thunder for after the clip, Sheila, was Chrystia Freeland speaking about a discussion she had with a 4-year-old girl. And it eerily reminds me of something that happened in the early 90s where Chrétien had a discussion too. And here's the connection. Do these people even exist? So let's roll what Fraulein Freeland had to say at last night's leadership debate.
A few weeks ago in Saskatoon, I met a 4-year-old girl named Ari. She asked me, can you stop Trump from invading Canada? Ari is a smart girl, and she's asking the right question. I'm running to be leader of the Liberal Party and the next Prime Minister of Canada because Trump is posing the gravest challenge our country has faced since the Second World War.
Okay, here's what we have to do, Sheila. If journalists are still doing their job of investigative journalism, can we please track down little Ari in Saskatchewan to see if this person actually exists or is a figment of Fraulein Freeland's imagination? Why I bring that up, Jean Chrétien, when he was prime minister, had this incredible anecdote where he said when he'd be walking to the House of Commons, there was a homeless man. He would have discussions with, well, listen, with some of the homeless people out there, you're not hanging around to discuss anything. You are running for the hills because you don't know if this is somebody hopped up on drugs, has mental health issues. But the bottom line, Sheila, is that when journalists back in the 90s were actually doing journalism, they sunk their teeth into this. Where is this homeless man? Who is this homeless man? What did they discuss? How did this person become so unfortunate to become homeless? Well, false, did not exist. Sheila, I don't know if this 4-year-old girl exists or not, but me right now, I ain't buying it.
You know, we talked about this yesterday on the live stream, and I talked about it at length with an actual Saskatchewan mom of 6. So she's had 6 experiences with a 4-year-old from Saskatchewan. That's our Tuesday co-host, Elise Merle. And we have come to the conclusion, I think as most people in this country have, that this little Ari in Saskatoon does not exist. And the reason we're talking about this again is because Freeland, despite robust mockery, this is the 3rd time she's made this claim. So she did it on X. She did it in the French language debate. She thought it landed well, so she did it again. And it's ridiculous. Like, have you people met a 4-year-old? I've met 3. I've raised 3 of them and met plenty of them. And imagine, and you know what? I got some bright kids, but imagine one of them saying, "Excuse me, good day to you, Madam Freeland. Would you be so kind as to allow me to posit a query to you about the dangerous trepidation that the new President Donald Trump puts the nation in? Give me a break. This is a 4-year-old. The only thing that they might be concerned about is Freeland telling their mommy to cancel Disney Plus. They don't know about Donald Trump. But this goes to the issue of the liberals thinking, and by and large, everybody on the left thinking, that 4-year-olds are fully formed adults just in itty-bitty bodies. And so they have valid opinions on politics the same way that they can have valid opinions on what they should medically do to their bodies, which could damage them in perpetuity. And I'm just leaving it there because of YouTube.
No, I understand. And Sheila, I agree with you. I've been around 4-year-olds when my sons were of that age. And I can tell you they weren't wondering about who's occupying the White House. Typically a question is is SpongeBob on yet, Dad? Can we watch a few episodes?
Can I have a cookie?
Yes.
Like, I tweeted something obnoxious, as I tend to do on X, and it was just like, yeah, that's fine. But in Edmonton, I met a 9-month-old who, in between drags of a little bitty meth pipe, wondered to me why Pierre Poilievre is going to stop Safe Supply. Like, it's just so stupid. You can make anything. You know what? You never have to give proof if all you do is lie. And there was a lot of that happening.
And I believe Freeland lied about canceling the Disney Plus subscription. I don't believe that. And even if she did, for someone of her net worth, that's not even couch change. So, please spare me. And by the way, I just want to clarify something, Sheila. When I say journalists go out and find this 4-year-old, of course I don't mean to scrum this little 4-year-old girl. I mean to...
I don't know, she sounds scrummable if you believe Chrystia Freeland.
Well, Freeland knows how to deal with impolite scrumming. She gets her RCMP bodyguard to physically assault and falsely arrest journalists. No, but if this conversation actually happened, this is the smartest 4-year-old girl in Canada. I would love to interview the parent, the mother or father, and say, how did you raise this precious little tot to be so cognizant about transnational issues? Because that's amazing. And she might be a statistical anomaly in Canada of one.
Yeah. Or she's just a lie. A figment of Freeland's imagination. As real as a Disney princess.
Just like Jean Chrétien's homeless man.
Yeah.
But wait, folks, as they used to say on those Ronco ads, there's more.
There's more.
Time we have
Freeland says the quiet part out loud. She says we need to, quote, build a new world order.
Ooh, say it ain't so.
We need to recognize President Trump has said dozens of times he wants us to be the 51st state. I don't think any of us wants to be the leader who was asleep at the wheel and didn't get Canada defended, did not work with our Democratic allies to protect our borders. They want to work with us. It's time for us to step up at home, to urgently reach out to them and build a new world order where democracy and Canadian sovereignty is protected.
Sheila, does Freeland not understand that New World Order is really debased language for anyone with 2 brain cells? I mean, we know what New World Order means. That is undemocratic. But then again, this is somebody who was giddy back in February of 2022 when she froze the bank accounts of Canadians, the ones who had the temerity to donate to the Freedom Convoy. That's New World Order in action. The government going into your bank account and freezing it. So, Sheila, I want to ask you this. She's trying to get brownie points. She's trying to get popular support. Who does New World Order, a promise of that, appeal to?
Her WEF overlords.
Well, that's a limited number of voters.
Undecided Carney voters. I mean, here's the thing on the debate stage last night, and I think anybody who suffered through it will probably agree with me. It was the furthest possible thing from a debate. It was like a fireside chat of co-collaborators. And everybody else on the stage, I think, is resigned to the Carney coronation. And what we saw there was people angling for positions in a future short-lived cabinet and then a shadow cabinet. Nobody actually really thinks that they're going to beat Carney. And we're all just part of the charade. They're running a robust leadership campaign, really to fill up the war chest to take on the Conservatives in the next federal election. This isn't about, a free and liberal exchange of ideas, or let's lay bare the problems with the party and see who's best suited to fix them. They're not talking about that stuff at all. They're not talking about their own policies that led them down this path. In fact, they specifically excluded anyone from the leadership that might bring up those things. Yeah. Ruby Dalla. So this is just a fundraising effort for the Liberals. That's all it is at the end of the day.
I think you're right, Sheila. I think the closer we get to March 9th, and if these meetings might have already occurred, the likes of Chrystia Freeland, Karina Gould, they've already reached out to the Mark Carney camp and said words to the effect of, we won't put up a lot of resistance. We'll throw our support behind you. We'll endorse him. But in terms of the quid pro quo, here's the cabinet position that we want. So you scratch our backs, we'll scratch yours. We'll make it nice and friendly. We won't air our dirty laundry in public. Now, the third clip, this is, to me, Sheila, an astonishing clip, and I'll save my thunder for after it runs, but it's Chrystia Freeland talking about outgoing Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he of the long goodbye. And I think her words are staggering for all the wrong reasons. Let's run that one.
Well, since we're talking about climate action, I do want to start by recognizing the role that I think history is going to judge very positively that Prime Minister Trudeau has played on climate action. He is the first Canadian Prime Minister to really move the dial. And under his leadership, we have become a country where the economy is growing while emissions are going down. That is a huge accomplishment for our children and grandchildren. What we need is carrots. We need incentives to double down on the incentives I put in place, the Canada Growth Fund, the investment tax credits, to create a green transition that delivers jobs and growth for the Canadian economy. I know that we can do that, and I know that that's what Canadians need. And if we let Pierre Poilievre be elected, that will be the end of climate action in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
I accept those terms. All right.
Yes, great rebuttal,
Stop
Sheila.
it. I like them already.
Yeah, I love, her talking about, a democracy, meaning that, you listen to others. Unless, of course, Fraulein Freeland doesn't like what she's hearing, then you'll find yourself handcuffed in the back of a York Regional Police cruiser. Anyway, the thing I'm getting at here, Sheila, let's not forget, Freeland is the reason there is a Liberal Leadership Convention. Back in January, she hastily tenured her letter of resignation, and the dominoes tumbled, and it was just before the budget, and the dominoes tumbled in such a way that Blackface couldn't rag the puck any longer. He had to announce he was stepping down, or eventually stepping down. What I'm getting at is she put the knife in Trudeau's back. Last night, she had the opportunity to twist the blade, but instead she took the knife out, talking about how history is going to, recognize Trudeau, yesterday's man, something she owes nothing to, as a leader, a hero. Sheila, I'm baffled at the strategy here.
Well, because Carney is just the brain inside of Trudeau's head, so you don't badmouth Trudeau, because ideally then you'd be badmouthing Carney, because everything that Trudeau said and did came from Carney, and she wants to make sure that she is Deputy Prime Minister in a Carney cabinet. I think that's really the end goal for her here today. But yeah, the gall of somebody saying democracy is about listening. Did you listen to anybody in the Freedom Convoy before you froze their bank accounts, you hyena of a woman?
Unbelievable.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com.